Hello. I'm Nate. I'm one of the co-founders here at N2. Today I'm going to take you through exactly how to produce your very first video on Sage. Let's get into it. When you log in for the first time, you're going to be asked to fill out your Sage profile. So let's go through this step by step. This is only something you will have to complete once, but it's also something you can always come back and edit because this is one of the most crucial parts of making the AI sound like you and resonate with your ideal audience. So as you can see, we have 8 different sections here. Starting with background information, this is really just your professional background, your personal story, what your communication style is, getting a feel for who you are and who you've worked with in the past. Each of these different sections has 1,000+ characters permitted, so you can add a lot of context here. So I want to show you a tool that will really help you fill this out quickly and completely. So something I use pretty much every day is this thing called Whisper Flow. So this is just a dictation tool that is available anywhere you can click in and type somewhere. So it's totally free, can't recommend it enough. It's exactly what I used to go ahead and fill in my background information because I can just go in here and then I can hold my hotkey, I can say a couple of things, and then it will immediately fill it in for me, right? So this is a great first step just to get your thoughts on paper and then go through and be an editor, not a writer. This will massively speed up the rate at which you can complete your Sage profile and add in 778 characters, 672 characters, without feeling like this is hours and hours of your time. Your target audience is just exactly who you want to talk to. I recommend explaining this as completely as possible and using your tools, looking back through email conversations with your favorite clients, really using it as an exercise to better understand who you serve and then communicate it effectively. Then we're going to get into the content topics. These are the things that are your primary areas of expertise and the things that you want to focus on. And then you can rank them in order. So what are the ones you want to talk about most? What are the ones you want to talk about least? That way, when we're ideating for you, these are the things that we'll be considering, and then you can get very specific. And I want you to pay close attention here because I mentioned that many of my clients are self-employed, so they want to know how to use their business to save on taxes and fund their retirement. So they're interested in things like SEP IRAs, solo 401ks, and deductible expenses. And then I also work with a lot of intrepreneurs. These are people who are climbing the corporate ladder. They're thinking about RSUs. They're thinking about ISOs. Remember that because we will see it reflected in the ideation agent later. Once you've filled out all of this, we have client stories. This is one of my favorite things because it adds so much color to the scripts that you produce. You might be doing a broader topic, an evergreen piece of information, but then you'll plug in a line or two about a client that you actually helped succeed with this strategy that you're discussing. This is the type of thing that really customizes it to you and shows that you aren't just sharing information, this is actually something you do professionally. I also want to take a moment and define light bulb moments. This is where you are having a meeting with a client and you just saw their eyes light up. They immediately understood the value of what you were teaching them rather than just the information. If it's a light bulb moment for your ideal client, sharing it with others will copy paste that same client profile, right? Many of the same people who are in the same demographics experience the same problems and want the same answers. Then it's worthwhile to share a little bit more about yourself. So your firm's specialization, your unique value proposition, and then any authority lines that you use in your content. So for example, a financial advisor who specializes in working with Henrys, high earners, not rich yet. So by sharing these authority lines, you can directly use them in the AI agents, and you will always be establishing rapport with your audience based on accurate information rather than broad things like I'm a financial advisor or I've been a wealth manager. It's no, I've been a financial planner for 10 years and a certified financial planner certificate for 5. Then we get a little bit more granular with content style preferences. So exactly what type of content approaches you want to take. Some people are very focused on the numbers. They like to quote studies. This might be data and statistics. Some people like to myth bust. They like to talk about the scams that are running on social media. This is myth busting and correcting misconceptions. For me, I really like client stories, as I mentioned earlier. I also like simply explaining really complex topics, and then I like lists. So 3 ways you can be better with your money, 5 strategies to reduce your taxes when you own a business, those kinds of things. I like to choose 3. You should select at least 2, and you can choose as many as you want. Now we get into compliance, because compliance at the end of the day is extremely important for us as advisors. So for me, I just said refer to the SEC new marketing rule and FINRA guidelines because I know that all of these AI agents are already trained on those rules. But if you have specific guidelines provided to you by your outsourced compliance firm or by your compliance team, this is where you would include them. That way, when you go to submit these videos for approval, you're not worrying about whether or not they're actually going to be accepted. They might just come back with some tiny pieces of feedback. Then you can also include your disclosures and disclaimers. These will actually be included in your video description, which I'll get to in a little bit. So that wraps up your Sage profile. You will go through and you will save and continue, submit all of these, and then you will exit to your dashboard. So once you're on your dashboard, now we can actually start producing your first video. Let's quickly do an overview of what Sage provides to you. So there are 2 main sections, really there are 3. Content AI are the AI agents that will help you ideate, script, and write your video description. So as you can see, we have a dedicated agent for each different component, and then we have a few extra bonuses that I'll share in a moment. Then within production, if you want to just fly out to Denver and film in our studio, that's always available to you. You can also join the production tier and get 20 videos edited by our in-house editing team. Or if you just want it to be completely done for you, you realize that it's worth investing in having a team execute all of these steps on your behalf, you can always take part in our concierge video production. The other part that isn't on here right now is consulting. This is where our team will be able to give you direct feedback on your scripts and on your completed video. All of these tools will orbit around your video board. This is your HQ, your launch pad. This is where you're going to be organizing all of the ideas and scripts that you inevitably produce. So as you can see, I have a bunch in here. I want to make it very clear that I didn't write any of these. They all came from the agents. But if you have one, you get done with a client meeting, you just want to throw something in here quickly, you can just add one in as you please. You can enter the title and the description, and later you'll be able to add in the additional fields. So let's say you just got out of a meeting and you were talking about Roth conversions, and you realize that you would really like to make a video about Roth conversions, right? Add in a couple of ideas that you have in the description. You can use Whisper from earlier. This is going to be something that just marks this idea in your head. So let's use Whisper just so I can show this again. Roth conversions are not just controlled by income tax brackets, they're also controlled by IRMA breakpoints. I want to make sure that people know that. So this is just a super simple example of how most people might fill a given income tax bracket with Roth conversions, and they might completely forget about the IRMA brackets, and then they will end up with higher Medicare premiums 2 years later. So I want to make sure that people understand that concept. This is the type of thing that we would share in a video. So let's add the item. Now you're going to see that it has been added down here. Let's go into the content AI. So if you don't want to ideate on your own, that's okay. You can just do it right here. You can choose between evergreen ideation or timely ideation. Evergreen, these are videos that will remain relevant over a period of 6 months to a year. Roth conversions would be an example of an evergreen piece of content because they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Whereas talking about the one big beautiful bill, that would be a timely ideation instance. The next step is to enable your Sage profile. So we designed the Sage profile to be hyper specific, which means that you will always get something from the Sage profile in your video scripts and in your ideas. For some people, that's exactly what they want. That's why we designed it. But you might find that you want to see what a different output looks like. So we gave you the option to enable or not enable your Sage profile. I also like to check for duplicates because I already have 13 ideas sitting on my board. I don't really want to get any back that I've already produced, right? So then you can add in specific topics that you might want to discuss. You can use Whisper, you can type these in, whatever you please, and you can go ahead and generate the ideas. Now that your idea is generating, you don't have to wait on it. I personally love slow AI. I don't need responses immediately. I just need them to be correct and be fully developed. So what you can do is you can go back to your video board and you can go ahead and keep ideating, and you will see down here ideas generated successfully. So let's go back to the content AI. Let's go back to this, and you will find that you now have your 5 ideas, right? They're all in here. So let's look at a couple of these. 3 overlooked risks when naming life insurance beneficiaries for special needs. So again, super, super specific. What the dropping US dollar means for your savings. We've seen that there is a consistent trend in the US dollar index sliding. This is another thing that we should maybe be considering. So lots of really, really cool ideas in here. We can also see that stock options pitfalls is included. You'll remember that directly from my Sage profile. So then you can just click add to board on any of these that you like. You might like all 5, you might like just 1. Really, we only need 1 to get started. So what we'll see is we will come down here and we will see that the idea has now been added. We are ready to write a script. We can go to the script generator. I will turn the Sage profile on for this one, but you have the same optionality. And then you have 2 options. You can select from the video board, or you can type your own video idea. So the whole goal here is you can start anywhere in the process you would like. You don't necessarily have to ideate if you already have a great idea and you just want to get a script immediately. But if you're moving through it as we are right now, you will see that the most recent idea that you added to the board is the one that's going to be included when you select a video idea. It's going to pull in your video idea plus all of the different bullet points and the links that were gathered during the ideation process. Now, you don't have to use Whisper, because when you're writing a script, we want as much detail as possible. You can just record a voice memo reading through these idea details and add any additional color that you would like to. Once you've added the voice memo, you've added some context files like PDFs or a meeting transcript, whatever it happens to be, you can go ahead and generate the script. So this will start working, but we can start talking about the next step in the process. So the description writer is the thing you will use to actually write the descriptions for the videos. So when you post on social media, you have the video itself, you have your handle down at the bottom. So mine is @networthnate. And then underneath that, you're going to have what's called the video description. This is just your caption explaining what's going on in the video and maybe adding a CTA and some hashtags. When we do the description writer, you will do the same thing. You will select from the video board. I have a couple of these that are already scripted, so I can see that the script has been added in here. And then I can choose what target platforms I would like this to be sent to. So I can do YouTube Shorts, I can do TikTok, I can do LinkedIn. You might find that for compliance reasons, you are limited and not able to post on TikTok. Whichever ones you would like to write video descriptions for, they're going to be here. Remember when I was talking about compliance in the Sage profile? Well, this is where it starts to matter. So you're going to have your firm information and credentials. This is going to be the info on your firm, and then your compliance considerations are going to be your disclosures. That way, when we go ahead and generate the descriptions, we're already including those disclosures where possible. Personally, I like to have emojis. You can decide either way. Now you'll see that we're starting to work in parallel because the descriptions have been generated, but then we can go back to the script generator and we can look at the stock option pitfalls and we can read through this script. So the script has 3 main sections. It has the hook, the body, and the CTA, plus some text overlays that you might have in there. This one didn't feel like it was super relevant, but occasionally you might want to add some specific numbers or say specifically that a number you're quoting is from 2025. That way, if someone watches it in 2026, they know that the numbers might be a little bit outdated. If you like the script, you can just add it to your board, or you can go ahead and ask for any changes to the script and it will make any general adjustments. I would say that if you want close to a full rewrite or you want to rework a much larger piece of the script, go ahead and request the changes from the AI agent. But if it's just a couple changes here and there, I would go ahead and add it to your board. That way you can come back here, find the stock options under your video board, and then you will see that the script is right here. So now you can go in and just type in your small changes, really make it sound like you make those fine-tuned adjustments before you go ahead and actually present the script. But before we start recording, we have one more step we need to get done. Once you personally approve this script, then it's going to need to be approved by compliance. If you wear the CCO hat, then you can just scroll right down here and you can enter in who approved it and when it was approved directly in the app. If you need to send this out to a compliance professional or to your compliance team, you can go ahead and just export all of the scripts that are in your compliance review column to a CSV. This is what we do when we work with much larger firms on our Video Vault projects, and it has worked phenomenally well because those advisors just need to make one submission instead of needing to make 60 or make 120. So let's say you download these as a CSV and you send them off to compliance, but you already have one that has been approved and you're working on the description for it, right? So now you can see that the video description that we ran earlier has given us 3 platforms back. So we have a title and a description for Instagram, then we have a title and description for LinkedIn, and we have the same for YouTube Shorts, and all of these adhere to the rules of those different platforms. For example, LinkedIn can be much longer, whereas YouTube, the title is limited to 100 characters. So we want to make sure that we are staying within that limit, and then the videos will actually be posted as a short instead of a long form video that's just in the wrong format. You're also going to see in here that we have included the disclosures where possible. Investing involves risk and potential loss of principal, all of the things that you would expect to see from a financial advisor. And I want to make a point here that this is essential, not just for compliance, because as you can see, I am mentioning the name of the firm. This is going to help you for SEO so that whenever someone looks up your company, they're also going to find all of your videos. Your disclosures are not a liability, they're an asset. So now if we come back to the video board, we can click on 3 ways high earners lose money, and we can go down and see the video script, but we can also see the full video description. So this is where we're now going to have everything we need to actually go ahead and post a video. The only thing we're missing right now is actually recording the video itself, and you're going to find all of our best practices on setting up your camera, setting up your studio, and actually producing the video in our learning center. So the idea is that you now have everything you need to produce. You just have to use our best practices and our equipment lists to actually sit down and record the video. Once you've recorded the video, if you opt for the production tier, you're going to be able to then just submit the raw footage to our in-house video editing team. So let's go ahead and let's move that video that we were working on and scripting, so 3 common ways high earners lose money, let's move it over to the to edit column in the video board. Now when we come back to production, we are able to select that video in the video editing section. You can add in your video URL. So the way you will do it is you will record it and then you will upload it to a Google Drive or a Dropbox link, whatever works best for you. And then you'll just paste it right in here. Then you can customize your brand colors. So I happen to know ours off the top of my head. We'll just do 37C AEC as our primary, and then we will do 022446 as our secondary, and then our tertiary is EF, just like that. So that way you're going to get captions back that are specific entirely to you, not just what every other advisor is receiving from Sage. And you can add in any video notes. And this is important because you can add any attachments that you want to appear on screen. And then you just have to let the video editors know where you would actually like to receive those overlays or the text pieces, whatever you want to see. The final step in editing is just to choose your caption style. And we'll have the examples up here. You'll be able to see the preview. So it'll be very straightforward to decide a caption style that works really well for you. And between videos, you can try different ones and see which ones you prefer. Once you've selected everything, you'll just go ahead and submit for editing. Expect about 48 hours to receive a review link. So once it's actually ready for review, it will get moved over into edit review, and you'll be able to scroll down and see your review link. So you can go in, this is called a frame.io link, which is what every single industry standard video editor uses. And you can take this video and review it by timestamp. So if you see something at the 17th second that you don't quite like, you can leave a comment right there. It makes it extremely easy for you to submit your feedback and then for us to implement it successfully. So there you go. That is everything you need to know to produce your first video on Sage. I am so excited to watch you produce yours.